The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty.
Earnestly podcast coming to you December 31st, 2023. It is New Year's Eve here as recording this on a Sunday morning. I don't typically do podcasts on Sundays or weekends, that matter, although that might be, now with football coming to an end very soon, that might be a thing moving forward. And some, there's some time for that, but a couple of things to get into today. Number one, my son's here. He's actually drawing here on the side, so you saw a little blip on the camera. But yes, it is the last podcast of 2023. I did not do my annual family end of year podcast because my kids weren't feeling it. Like I tried to get them to do it a couple of times this week, and they just did. I couldn't lock them down to sit down for 20 minutes to just record their thoughts on the year and what their goals were for 2024. And honestly, I didn't want to force anything. I didn't want to force anything. I wanted to, if they didn't want to do it, I'm not going to force them to do it. So that's where my mind was at on that one. So I decided, we'll just do like a quick recap. Not even a recap. That's kind of like get some of my thoughts, of course, on the year at large. Because to be honest with you, this year, honestly, for myself, was a very for me. A lot of things that I I think I prioritized. I think a lot of things that I finally made sense of. Obviously the big thing for me personally, finding out, early in the year that I was diabetic, type 2 diabetic. And that happening as a result of me having a bulging disc in my neck back in January, which was started a avalanche of things that ended up forcing me to go to the doctor, which is something I don't typically do anyway. I'm not, I don't know. I just hate going to doctors. I hate hospitals, all that. But again, I'm approaching my mid 40s. I need to start taking that stuff seriously. It is what it is with that. And being able to prioritize that stuff and being able to, I can't say able because I was always able to do it. It's me just prioritizing it for the matter was a big win in itself. So being able to prioritize my health was a big win for me, number one. And tide turning for myself, yes, but even a tide turning for my spouse, my wife, my lovely wife, Lauren. She has made a lot of changes too, with a lot of things. I'm not going to detail that. Maybe we'll have her on the podcast in the future and she'll reveal those things. But she's done a lot of things on the private. She's a very private person. She's not going to sit there in this. So I'm not going to sit on her business, of course. But she's dealt with a lot of things this year, and she's made some massive changes on certain things, and she's been a massive influence and just a rock for me. I this year I realized, hey, obviously we've been together 17 years. Tomorrow will be 18 actually. No, not New Year's Day, but we've been together 17 years, married 12. And like this year, I just felt back in love with her all over again. And not to say that doesn't happen. As my son's here going to the camera, you gotta stop doing that. Thank you. But this year especially, one of the things that we're so good about, my wife and I, is we are really good at communicating, and even to a fault. And we had a lot of challenges to this year that we went through, and sometimes those things define your marriage. It defines where you're at. It defines, okay, will this move forward? Will this stall? Will this stall to the point where maybe we go separate ways? In a society now where people don't, and I'm not trying to be critical here of people's decisions here, because people have reasons they do the things they do, and I get that. But in society where people decide to quit on each other, and again, people have reasons for that, and I get that. My wife and I have made a commitment. We made a commitment when we got married. Like, I knew when I met her that she was special, and being with her prior to marriage, I knew that. And when we got married, when I got married to her on April 3rd, 2011, I knew that was for life. Now, granted, again, things can change. Things happen. She might change her mind, but she's committed. I'm committed. One of the things that this year too, also in personally too, which is something that I struggle with for years, is being vulnerable, even with her. We had this thing where, like, I trust you 99.9%. There's always 1.1%, and for many reasons why I always felt that way. But no, I finally crossed. I felt like this year was the first time I actually crossed that 0.1%, and now I'm 100% in, and then some, with her. So while it was a big year for me and changes and whatnot, it was an even bigger year for her. And like, one day we'll have a podcast and we'll talk about that. But so proud of what she's been doing. I love her more than life itself. I love my kids more than life itself. My kids have gone through a lot, and my kids, again, in the camera. Why in the camera for? Yeah, stay right there. Keep drawing. What's up? Okay. Oh, your pen fell down? I'm sorry. Yeah, you're drawing through. Okay, no. Yeah, go ahead. Pick it up. Go ahead. Pick it up. Okay, cool. But this, my family has meant so much to me, as I've met some of these challenges this year. So that's one of the things also too. Financial progress. We did well this year, and we made some. We had some goals, and we met those goals this year. We really made a point to make sure that we are in the best position possible as a family, with inflation and challenges and costs going up every year. It seems we made a point to make sure we do that. Again, being health conscious. I mean, that's one of the things her and I have been massively prioritizing, and we're going to do that even more in 2024. I'll admit I've been off the wagon a little bit last couple of weeks, especially last month, through the holidays, from Thanksgiving on. This is a tough year for me, because my family, a big family, not necessarily my immediate, but, like, my mom's side, dad's side, all that, and we do a lot, we eat a lot, we do a lot of things, and it's a challenge, but at the same time, it's still got to balance it out. You know what I mean? And, like, to me, it's simple. My goals next year is simple. The same things I started here: prioritizing health, all that. I want to be a better father, better husband. I've had some challenges with my son, my oldest son, especially too. As he's turning 11 next year, and he's getting to that preteen, area. Him and I, our relationship has been hot and cold, like, in a sense where, like, okay, we do get along, but he's also influenced by other things outside of the household, school and whatnot, and friends and all that. And he's had some challenges in school as well too. And I can be a very impatient individual at times. So one of the things that I could be short with him at times too, also, which doesn't help the situation. It actually, if anything, it actually exacerbates the situation more than it should. So I could work on that. I could work on that as a father. I also, more than anything else, myself, and this pertains to anything. It pertains to this podcast. It pertains to me working out. Anything else, just be more disciplined. If I commit to doing something, one of the things I want to start doing really heavily starting this year is getting back to walking and running in the mornings like I used to. Is, if you want to do that, then just do it. Commit to it in the mornings. just to commit to doing it. Just matter what goes on, you commit to it. Discipline is something I struggle with for years. Now, granted, the things I do love, I'm pretty locked in on the things I do love, but still, gotta stick with it. Stick with the things, that otherwise, then why are we doing this? You know what I mean? So it was, like I said, it was a tide turning 2023. It was a life-changing 2023 for myself. But I gotta sneeze. I gotta sneeze, but I'm trying to hold it in. And I really don't want to be doing this podcast today. Honestly, I'm really tired. I'm feeling like crap today. But I'm really sore. I got sore because I actually got a massage yesterday. Finally got good massaging myself again. No, not me, but my friend Jamie came by my house last night and gave me like a 9-minute massage last night. I got to work on my my hands, my back and stuff again, and got that going. So thank you, Jamie, for that. I appreciate it. She'll be coming every couple of weeks now to do it for me because I haven't done a massage like that in a couple of years. My friend Lauren, who used to do massages, she moved away to Gainesville, and she she said she can't really do it anymore. Obviously, it's just a bar. And when she visits down here, she was even when she visits down here, she does visit us fairly decent. I'm not gonna ask her to massage me while she's here. I mean, that's ridiculous. No, I'm not doing that. She's here to enjoy her, fellowship with us. So, but yeah, thank you, Jamie, for that last night. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. With my goals, 2024, 2023 I would say it was a good year. I thought it was a good year because it again, I faced down some things finally that I've been needing to take care of, and I'm happy with that. Okay, I want to keep this episode relatively simple. I don't know how short it'll be, but simple. Because a couple topics I want to get into here. And I think most of them are sports related here. I think, in fact, almost sports related here. We'll obviously touch on this probably next week or week after with student report. But the issue, the debate, the Russell Wilson time in Denver is coming to a close. He was benched this week by Sean Payton in the Broncos. Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it was. And now reports are coming out that the Broncos are likely going to cut him in March, before March. On the surface, honestly, this is one of the worst trades ever. Denver gave up a lot to get him 2 years ago, which I co-signed in time. But I think the problem I have with this situation, and I know we'll debate this on the podcast with various guests throughout the next weeks and months, is that as bad as Russell was in year one Denver last season, which I blame 85% of that to Nathaniel Hackett, which the Broncos, to their credit, did fire him. I do think that Russell Wilson this year turned things around. The guy had 26 touchdowns, 8 picks. He was not the same guy as he was in Seattle, but the dude played much better this year. And this team started off 1-5, got back in playoff contention. Okay, now granted, these last 2 weeks have not been really good for the team in general because they lost 2 games that they should have won, in my opinion. Well, Detroit game, yes, the Detroit game they lost. Okay, I give you that one. Detroit's better team, obviously, but losing to New England last week at home was an atrocity. So their playoff lives are pretty much virtually dead. They still have a 1% chance of getting in the playoffs, but they need a lot of help. But this is why it's so troubling that this happened. This team is actually still technically in the playoff hunt, and yet they decided to go this route, and I don't understand it. And I think for a lot of it too, also that I don't think Sean Payton ever liked Russell Wilson, honestly. And you can tell some of the comments he made from the time Sean Payton was hired, in March or whatever the hell it was, February was, in a year earlier when it was hired. It doesn't matter. Telling him to stop kissing babies and stuff, and then watching what happened last 2 weeks ago in the Detroit game where he was yelling at him on the sideline, which I thought initially was a big deal, but obviously looking back in hindsight, it was obviously a bad look. I think Sean Payton never wanted Russell Wilson to be his quarterback, and to be fair, he didn't trade for him. He didn't draft him. He didn't, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't this guy. So he was there when he was hired. But I just think that that situation is really bad and toxic. I hope Russell Wilson does well wherever he goes, even though he's still in Denver beyond this year, which obviously the tea leaves is not going to be in Denver beyond this year. I'm super for the guy. I'm still my favorite player in the league. I think he'll fit well in Pittsburgh, honestly. I think it fit well in Washington. I think if I'm the Falcons, Atlanta Falcons, I'm looking into taking a feeler. I mean, because you have a bad situation there in quarterbacks. You have Desmond Ridder, who sucks. You have Taylor Heineke, who's basic at best. Those three teams right there off the rip. I think you send to Pittsburgh in that culture with Mike Tomlin. They have weapons there. They need a quarterback bad. Kenny Pickett isn't hacking it. This team could be is probably gonna be a playoff team. They're ready in the playoff hunt right now as it is. You mean tell me you added Russell Wilson, even Russell Wilson being 70% of what he was 2-3 years ago in Seattle, couldn't at least lift that Steelers team to at least 10, 11 wins a year for the next 2 years? I'll sign on that. Obviously, the money is going to be the issue, but beyond that, yeah, he has options. We have not seen last Russell Wilson in the NFL. Trust me on that. I just think he's too good a quarterback to just give on this soon. This is not Carson Wentz. Okay, this is not Carson Wentz. Situation. I think he can get another two. Again, this year he was good, and when they started 1-5, it wasn't like they started because he played bad. That Denver defense was atrocious for the first 5 weeks of the year. We forgot they gave up 70 points to the Dolphins in week 3, week 4. So yeah, Russell Wilson will be fine. Staying on quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, the resurgence of Joe Flacco in Cleveland's been bonkers. It's a conversation we were having with a couple of friends of mine. Actually, that's what not thinking about it, was actually the huddle up crew on our text machine. We had a message, whatever you want to call it. And I think the question came up about Joe Flacco. If Joe Flacco were to hypothetically take this Browns team on short notice to a Super Bowl this year, which, by the way, I ain't gonna lie to you, I would not rule that out because the AFC, as good as Baltimore is, I can see Baltimore being losing to Cleveland in the playoffs. I mean, they beat them once this year, as is in Baltimore. That team is equipped to make a long run to deep in the playoffs. So it wouldn't surprise me if they at least got to the 8th title game, possibly getting to the Super Bowl, possibly winning it. Who knows? Depending on the matchup. But the question was broached on that text exchange about if Joe Flacco would to win a Super Bowl this year on short notice for this Browns team, would he be someone that should get into the Hall of Fame? I still say no, because you got to look at, when you do all these things here, you got to look at the body of work. He was bad for a good stretch in Baltimore. His last stretch between 2013, 2014, and 2018, he was pretty bad. I mean, yeah, Super Bowls help, but people say, well, what about Eli Manning? And I said no. Eli Manning, I would say no also too. Despite 2 Super Bowls. The numbers don't really help Flacco's case. I mean, Joe Flacco has some really big moments. I mean, his 2012 playoff run was actually phenomenal. But I don't know. I couldn't sign up for that. And to me, I think I come to a place now when it comes to Hall of Fame that I think it's been watered down. Like, my logic when it comes to Hall of Fame players is this: if you have to think about it, then it's probably a no. Like, to me, when you see a player, look at numbers, and then if it doesn't feel like, if you have to struggle with the answer, it's a no. That's what makes the Hall of Fame special. Is that players that are there, most players are there, are guys that were surefire guys. Bottom line. So I wouldn't go that far. But it's been a fascinating story to watch with Joe Flacco and when he's on Cleveland. This team is very dangerous. And that's that. Yesterday, I'm going to get to this. I have 2 more topics I got to get out here. Yesterday, did not watch the Orange Bowl. I told you guys in the last episode I did that I was boycotting the Florida State-Georgia game. You guys know I'm a big Florida State fan. They got screwed in the playoff. Simply put, I don't care what anybody says. If I'm being petty, I'm crying. Don't give a damn. My stance, I still stand on 10 toes down on what I believe in. It's my opinion. You don't like it, too bad. And I did not watch a second of that game. I had the game off. I mean, obviously they lost 63-3. And what bothers me though about the whole thing, and I'm glad personally I made a principled stance on that situation. What bothers me about this now is overall the rhetoric through the game and after the game. Oh, so the committee is the committee validated enough what they did after this? No. Like, and tell me you don't watch college football without telling me you don't watch college football. Florida State had 23 or 24 guys missing for this game that didn't play, whether or not they were protesting, injuries, or just opting out because they're going to the draft. They're missing 13, I think the number was 12 or 13 starters alone. You had your starting quarterback, your backup quarterback who transferred, went to the portal. You had your starting running back going to the draft. Both your star receivers opting out because they're going to the draft, and a shit ton of defensive players who are going to the draft and we're going to draft it in April, not play because this game doesn't matter. Because again, when the committee said that despite you being 13-0 in a Big 5 conference, we're going to put 2 one-loss teams in there because, product. Okay, so if the game don't matter, if the record don't matter, then this game don't matter. So you can't have both ways. You can't get mad at players, oh, why should I play the game anyway? Because. No. Because, again, my gripe for the committee was not, look, and I'm going to be clear about this because people were getting on me about my stance on this. And look, I don't give a damn. This is my stance on it. I'm firm on this one. I'm not moving on there. I'm 10 toes down on this one. If this was a one-loss Florida State team, I wouldn't feel the same way about this as I did. Again, we're dealing with the one-loss Florida State team. No, we're not doing undefeated Florida State team. Okay? People say, well, they weren't the Florida State college football. I agree. In fact, I was saying even before Jordan Travis got hurt that I believe that Oregon at 2 losses is better than Florida State. This is my opinion. But again, the anomaly here is Florida State was unbeaten. Okay? That's the anomaly here. That should be rewarded. I mean, get the whole idea that, oh, yeah, well, Jordan Travis is hurt. I get all that. But the reason that this happened is because the committee wanted a better product on the field. Bottom line. And to me, that's horseshit. I'm sorry. I think going 13-0 should have been rewarded. I don't give a damn. I don't care about the circumstances. Unbeaten's unbeaten, period. In a Power 5 conference. Everybody else make all these arguments about better team and whatever. I don't give a damn. We're not going to agree on this. End of discussion. We're not going to agree on this. This is my stance, and I'm sticking to it. And people say, "Oh, well, you're being a homer." No, because if this happens to any school, even Florida, who I can't stand, even Miami, who I can't stand, it happens to them. Notre Dame, I can't stand. It's happened to Notre Dame. I will feel the same way about this. There's principles behind this stuff, man. So, the idea that people say, "Oh, well, this validates the committee for what they did." No, what the hell it does not. Because first off, again, you had 25 players not playing this game. 14 number starters. What are you talking about? That is a stupid take. That's the dumbest take that I've ever heard in my life. So please stop. It's like, again, tell me you don't watch college football without telling me you don't watch college football. You literally made my point. Bottom line. Anyway, last thing before we end the year. LeBron James turned 39 yesterday. LeBron James. This dude is amazing. He really is. You can argue that dude right now is probably still a top 5 player. I won't say it, but his production says otherwise. The fact we're seeing this guy do what he does at his age, and in a league where I can argue that the talent pool in this league today is as wide as ever been in the history of basketball. And again, I'm someone who's watched NBA basketball for 30 plus years, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, it's amazing. And I just think that we get into this whole debate to LeBron versus Jordan, this is that. I don't like LeBron. Who gives a damn? Judge a player for what he does in the court. The product speaks for itself. I'm still Jordan 1, LeBron 2. But I made this statement. I don't think I made it on the podcast. I think I told my brother this actually last week over the holidays. I told him this, and my dad too, also, who's a massive fan as well too, basketball fan. I said, if LeBron James somehow this year or next year finds a way to win another title as the best player in the team that wins the title, I might make that swap, the Jordan LeBron swap. Because I always said that the one thing about Jordan argument I don't like is the fact that even though I'm Jordan 1, LeBron 2, is that this idea that it's not close. No, it's not close to get people credit for. Because longevity helps his case. Longevity helps his case. If he wins the title at age 39 or 40 as the best player in this NBA, you have to give it to him. You have to, or at least consider giving it to him at that point. Because we're never going to see this problem ever again. Certainly someone playing at this level. Like maybe Steph Curry does this, because Steph Curry is still at age 35, 36 now. It's still quite incredible. But I don't know if Steph Curry can carry the team in the same way like that. We'll see in the coming years. But we need to appreciate this dude, what he's doing for basketball. You may not like his politics and all this crap, and I get all that, but the dude's amazing. The dude's just simply amazing. My brother, shout out to my brother Eric, he had sent a question. He had said, hypothetically, if LeBron James, instead of LeBron James, Michael Jordan had been the part of the big three, the Heat, back in 2010 to 2014, does Jordan win more titles? So that big three Heat won two finals, made finals all 4 years. And I told him, I think maybe they win one more. They may win the first one against Dallas. That's it. They're not winning the 2014 finals. If you look at the way that finals Spurs played out, the last year in the big three Heat, nobody, and I've said this on record 10 years ago, and I'll say it again, nobody was beating that Spurs team, because the way that series played out, there was nothing Michael Jordan could have done that could have helped the situation. That because the Spurs, especially games 3 through 5, they were as dominant as I've ever seen a finals team play in a stretch of 3, 4, 5 games. That was as dominant performance I've ever seen in my entire life. So Michael Jordan could not help that. Michael Jordan could not defend 4 guys at the same time on the wings the way they were shooting the ball. And for the record, LeBron played amazing in that series. Didn't matter. Now, if you get a healthier Dwayne Wade, maybe have a conversation, but that wasn't the case. You take the situation according to what it was. Michael Jordan, no one else, coming down could not help the situation. Okay, so that Spurs team was just on a mission. And then that series played out the way it did. So, no. I think they win one more. I don't think they win all 4. I'm not mistaken. That was the finals, and I think it's still a record too. Also, where the largest margin defeat in an entire series in history of the finals, because the Spurs can miss any shots. And I'm sorry, Michael Jordan's not guarding 3-4 guys at the same time. That's not happening. That's simple. The reason that Heat team lost that series is because that rest of the team was either hurt or just not good enough. And they were also tired legs. See, we talk about Jordan getting to win 3 in a row twice, but Jordan never played in 4 finals in a row, so he didn't have the tired legs like that. Again, context matters, guys. So salute to LeBron James, age 39, keep doing the damn thing. And like I said, I think the debate's still up, still won. So, and that will do it for me on this podcast. Logan, want to say hi to everybody? So bye for tonight. Say Happy New Year. Come here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right. Again, I'm on Twitter /X at EJ Christian 7. Check out, of course, my guys, especially guys. Thank you guys so much this year for prioritizing my YouTube page. My YouTube page we're now at 312 subscribers. We're growing this page now, hoping to get 400 subscribers. Thank you so much for that. Also, that's at YouTube / Earnest Christian. I'm on TikTok now. I can't believe TikTok's a thing enough for me. At Earnest Christian as well, too, on TikTok. What are you doing? No, I'm not done yet, buddy. What are you trying to close about? I'm not done yet. I'm still recording. You trying to end the recording? I'm still recording, bud. So yeah. But guys, thank you guys for supporting all my work. This show, the Unfiltered show, Unfiltered podcast. My new wrestling podcast, well, relatively new, a year old, but been doing it more consistently lately. The wrestling retro. I gotta say it slow, Logan. It's the wrestling retrospective. That show's been doing really good numbers too, especially. Thank you guys for that as well. And I have my basketball retro podcast finally coming back in February/March. We'll see when I start that up. So, guys, thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful year, and we'll see you in 2024. See you guys later, and see ya.